Welcome back on the mat. So we're starting in our seated position, sitting up nice and tall, but straighten both arms. Get the pads of the index fingers and thumbs to touch. As you lengthen your arms, you can stretch out the other fingers, sitting up nice and tall and slightly dropping your chin down. So just a very slight tilt in the head, just sort of get a bit of length through your neck. Keeping your eyes open for a second. Just observing or noticing your breath. You can now slowly start to close your eyes and deepen the inhales and exhales. I strongly recommend Ujjayi Pranayama, that ocean-like breath. If you don't do Ujjayi, just keep the breathing deep, controlled and slow. Taking this time to establish a consistent breathing pattern. Something that's going to carry you throughout the class. Continue with the breathing, slowly start to lift your head and then open your eyes. So let's get out of our seated position into a low plank. So idea is to get both forearms down on the floor, hands together, straighten your legs, making your way into the shape. You can even interlace your fingers if you like, but get a slight bend in the knees, tilt your pelvis slightly, or just think about pulling navel to spine. That's also a nice way to get the activation and then straighten your legs. So we're starting off with a little bit of a plank hold, a low plank hold, or forearm plank hold, to generate a bit of body heat and fire burning in the core. This is very extreme. Then you place knees to mat, but you still maintain that core activation. You will still be conditioning, even if you have knees on the mat. And before we get out of the position, shift a bit of weight back and forth. So make it playful, make it light by moving around. Pushing through the balls of the feet to work the shoulders forwards and then pushing the heels back to get the shoulders more in line with the elbows. Your legs might be a bit stiff still. We haven't done any stretching, but start to lift your hips, push out of your shoulders, walk your feet up. And if you need to keep a bend in your knees, do that. You can just think about keeping the hips up, but push away from the mat. It's all about the shoulder activation. Start to walk your feet back into that low plank. At any stage, if you need to place knees to mat, you do that. And one more time, we make it playful. Shifting weight forwards and back. Just a bit of movement. Make sure there's engagement in the core. And this time around, place your knees down as you get back to center. Place hands onto mat and position yourself onto all fours. Spread your fingers, grip the mat. Feel that whatever part's making contact with the floor is making decent contact with the mat. Then straighten your legs into plank. Counts for the feet and the hands. Lift your hips into a down dog. So we've got nice straight legs, straight arms. If the hamstrings are tight and you need to bend a little, do that, but most definitely keep the arms straight. Even if you find that you hyperextend in the elbows, so the arms sort of bending in the opposite direction when you lock them out, then get a slight bend in the arms till your arms are straight. Bend into your knees, look up, inhale, feet in between hands, halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, take arms to ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward bend. In breath, halfway lift. Plant your hands, exhale, step it back or jump back. Lower down knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look up. And jump your feet behind your hands. Walk your feet closer together. Lift onto the balls of the feet, part your knees. Triceps onto the shins or knees. Shift weight forwards. If you can float the feet, lift them off the mat. If not, then don't. Pull your heels as close to your glutes as you can. Breathe. Bring your feet back down. Step back. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Exact same sequence. Bend knees, look up. Jump feet behind hands. You can get your feet together, part your knees. Bend in the arms, knees onto the triceps, lifting up. Breathe. Bring your feet back down. Then step back. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Maybe you're not lifting feet off the mat, and that's also fine. We do it one more time. Bend into knees, look up. Inhale, feet in between hands. Well behind hands. Part your knees, bend into the arms. Ready position, onto the tiptoes, and get up. Breathe. Feet back down. Step back. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, step right foot in between hands. Be in this runner's lunge, back leg is straight, get onto the fingertips. Push your back heel high up to ceiling, and then get your fingers to just not touch the mat. Arch in your back. Right knee in line with the right hip joint. Keep length in your neck. Exhale, hands down, step back. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, foot in between hands. High up onto the ball of the back foot. Fingers touching, and then floating fingers off the floor. Forcing you to keep sinking low to get the fingers close to the mat, but not to touch. Keep length through the spine. Exhale, bring hands down, step it back, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale to your down dog. Bend knees, look up. With an in-breath, jump your knees in between hands, coming down. So the way we jumped into the posture, we want to jump out of the posture. So the tops of the feet made contact with the mat first, then shins, then knees. Now we're going to lift knees, lift shins, lift back of the feet as you jump back. So hands can even be slightly in front of the knees. Shift weight forwards, keep your arms straight. Push away, jumping into your plank. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Bending into both knees. This time around, step or jump feet in between hands. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. In breath, bend knees. Bring hands to pray. So we're sinking down. You've got your hands to pray. Inner knees touching, feet touching. Deep in breath. Exhale, a bit of a forward bend with the upper body. Then turn, get the left elbow over the right knee. Now push your hands together. Start to twist, but keep your knees aligned. Turn your gaze down to the floor to keep the balance. Inhale onto your tiptoes. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist in the opposite direction. As you twist, breathe. Turn your gaze down to the floor. Inhale onto tiptoes. Exhale, heels down back to center. Forward bend, head to shins. In breath, halfway lift. Plant your hands firmly on exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. On exhale, step right foot in between hands. And now you've got the option of stepping the left foot further back or walking the right foot, the front foot off the floor. Slide your foot as far as you can for a modified front splits. You don't really want to place the back knee on the mat and get comfortable. Rather straighten the back leg and feel that stretch in the hip flexor. Bring your back knee down. Pull your right foot closer to the body until you can get the entire foot flat on the floor. So front leg not at 90. Walk your foot out to the side. So we've got space for the right shoulder. Then come down onto the forearms. Now only straighten the back leg. And bring your back leg down. Come back up onto the hands. The idea is to work your shoulder underneath the leg. So see where you can get with this one. If you can position the shoulder entirely underneath, place your down dog hands on the mat, straighten your back leg, and push to just lift your front leg a little bit. Then step it all the way back, downward facing dog. Just want you to feel the sensation of being able to create a bit of a shelf with your shoulder for the leg. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, step left foot between hands. Place your back knee down for a second. You can slide your foot forwards, but you want to keep the back leg straight once we get into the posture. So sliding into some form of a front split. Maybe not all the way. It's not as if we've been focusing on hamstrings. But hold. It shouldn't be entirely unbearable. You want to be in control of the posture. You can do so by making use of your breath. Now place your back knee down, slide your left heel closer, entire foot on the floor. Hand to the inside, walk your foot slightly out, coming down onto the forearms. Straighten your back leg. Bring your back knee down, make your way back up onto your hands. We get the left shoulder underneath the leg, straighten your back leg, and lift. Just getting the foot to not touch the floor. Step it back, lifting your hips into a downward facing dog pose. Bend into knees, look up. Inhale, feet in between hands, halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, arms to ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Step wide on your mat so that Brasarita Opertanasana type of stance. We're going to go for the D variation. Hands on the waist. Inhale, lift and sternum. Exhale, lean forwards with the chest and chin. Find your big toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, actively pull yourself into the final phase of the posture. Elbows flaring, shoulders pulling towards waist, keeping length in your neck. Relaxing in the forearms, not pulling the wrists skew. You want to keep them nice and straight. Inhale for halfway lift. Place your hands on the mat underneath the shoulders. So we've got the hand-shoulder distance right below the shoulders. Start to straighten your arms. Lift onto the balls of the feet to drive the hips up or to get the hips closer to ceiling. And push, suck navel to spine. See if you can get the feet to float for a second. So one more time. You spread your fingers. Push, straighten the arms, push out of your shoulders, lift, see if there's a float, and bring it back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands onto waist. Inhale, back into a standing position, stepping to the front end of the mat. As you get to the front end of the mat, mountain pose, close your eyes. See, this is your child's pose. Taking a bit of a breather in your mountain pose. Deep, controlled breath. One more sun salutation in order to make our way to a seated position. So open your eyes. Inhale, arms to ceiling. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Bending into your knees on inhale, look up and step or jump into seated. As you come down, straighten your legs. Okay, so we're going to take right leg over the left to get into this half shoelace pose. First, you sit up tall. On exhale, lean forwards with chest and chin. Find the front foot, chin over your knee. Hold that position. If it's quite challenging on the hamstring or especially back of the knee, you will obviously just not go too deep. Keep the breath nice and deep. Don't start losing control of the yoga practice, meaning being focused on the breath and regardless of the posture that we're in, maintaining that focus and not starting to inspect toes and all sorts of things. You don't want the mind to drift off. Inhale, straighten your arms and your back. Exhale, let go. The top leg, you can find that foot, interlace all 10 fingers around the right foot with the leg being bent. Then as you sit up, straighten your right leg, or as much as you can. Maybe you can't straighten entirely, that's fine. Keep both feet flexed. Slowly bring your right leg down. Get your left leg over the right. Shoelace. Nice deep inhale. Lengthen in chest. Exhale forwards. Grip hold of the foot. If you simply don't get there, you grip hold of the leg, or maybe place the hands on the mat. The idea is to work chest and chin forwards. Inhale to straighten your arms, lengthen in the back, and exhale, release. All 10 fingers around the left foot, lifting up and straighten. A bit of a Bikram interlacing position, really. Don't really see it in any other yoga styles. And you'll slowly release the left leg. Point with the toes. We're doing a very laid back and modified form of a forward bend, or dare I say Opertanasana. You can grip hold of the feet, turn it into a forward bend. Very calming doing this forward bend, but getting a bit of a stretch in the front parts of the ankles. Inhale, straighten arms and back. Exhale, release. Keep pointing in the toes. Place hands behind the shoulders. Inhale, lift your hips into your reverse plank or Opertanasana. Now bend your knees. Step your feet hip distance. Lift your hips more. Inhale, take right leg to ceiling. Reach up. Bend the knee, get the ankle above the left knee. Keep the hips up. You drop the right hip down, but you do not collapse the right hip to the floor. Inhale, take the right leg back up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, take your left leg up to ceiling. Bend your knee, ankle above the knee, into that very same position. Keep the left hip in line with the right hip. Inhale, take left leg up. Exhale, bring it down. Slowly come all the way down onto the floor. Feet together, arms around the legs. Relax your forehead down to your knees. Starting to calm down here. Deepen your breath now. Inhale, coming back up. Step the feet slightly wider than mat distance, hands behind the back to support. Windshield wipers, you can just tilt the legs from side to side. As you make your way back up, you can push your legs out to the sides. Find your legs with your hands or find the outsides of the feet. Feel that you have activation in the legs. It's important. You don't want to be passive in the legs with a specific stretch and then take your chest forwards. Get length in your back. Push your heels down. And it's almost as if you're pushing your feet into your fingers or the hands that's holding onto the feet as you do your forward bend. Using the inhale to make your way up, exhale, release. Bring your legs together, and very slowly we'll take our time getting onto our back. So perhaps point with the feet, take your arms out in front, slowly start to curl down, one vertebra at a time. Lower back now making contact with the floor, middle spine, upper spine, shoulder blades, and relax onto the mat. Step feet onto the floor. Pull knees into your chest. You can hug your knees in. And do a slight upside down Opertanasana. So, with the legs being bent, crunch up, find the outsides of your feet. Slowly start to straighten your feet up to ceiling first, legs still bent. And then take your legs over your head, actively pull your legs closer to your chest. If the legs are slightly bent, doesn't matter. If the lower back lifts off the mat, that is perfectly fine. You don't want to keep the lower back on the mat. You keep shoulder blades, back of the head, middle spine on the mat, but the lower back lifts. And bend into your knees. Get the elbows to the insides of the knees as you part the legs into a happy baby. Now you work the lower back down to the floor. You can slowly let go of the feet, straighten the left leg, bend the right leg to 90, arms out to the sides as you take your leg over to the left. And I'll bring it back to center. Straighten the right leg, bend the left. Take your left knee over to the right. Slowly bring it back to center. Getting ready for a bridge, and then a little bit of upper hamstring activation in the process. So feet close to the glutes, feet hip distance. Interlace your fingers as you start to lift your body. Walk the shoulder blades closer together. Stay in this upside down position. Now to get the upper hamstring activation, actively pull with your heels towards your shoulders. Keep the hips up. You'll find that there's activation in the back side of the body, the glutes, along with the upper hamstrings. Keep pulling the heels up towards the shoulders. Now very slowly, release the hands, slide the hands out to the sides or the arms, straighten the right leg, push the heel into the floor, straighten the left leg, push heel into the floor, and once again, pull with the heels up towards the shoulders, keep your bum off the mat. Upper hamstring activation, hold. You'll even find the lower back working quite well. And then very slowly, bring it down. As you come down onto the mat, you will simply make or get your body into the perfect corpse pose position. So allow the feet to drop out to the sides, elbows close to the body, hands further away. Lift your head, tuck your chin. And now for the first time in the practice, allow your breath to be absolutely natural. You can keep your eyes closed and stay in your corpse pose for as long as you want.